everybody? It's your boy MC's back. Breaking news. Yeah, I said, shit, it's time to speed it up. Welcome to the show. Hit that like button. Hey, I got some clips here. I've been missing. I haven't been at home. I don't got the referee shirt on. It's because I left it at the other location where I was going to do some videos. So let's get this show started. Just chill out stream. Got a lot of videos on, Nicki calling out our governor out here, right in LA. Because man, this agenda, man, we've been seeing this for years. I've been seeing this for over like 10, 12 years. I started noticing it in certain meetings. Shall I say that, things was being infiltrated, moved, individuals talking in a tone where we're moving other conversations. I know a lot of y'all experienced that. And the conversations seems to be like Charlie Brown type of statement, like whoa, 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 whoa. Have y'all been to a lot of meetings like that? Town halls, conferences, Zoom calls, and things of that nature. That's what a lot of y'all experienced listeners is comprehending about what's going on right in this landscape that we call America. So, I don't know what video to really so much start off with, but man, let's check out the first one just to get it out the way, just to show who's really listening. Okay, what about this one? Fox News.
Another story that's very interesting is that Governor Gavin Newsom is learning there's bees in the trap when you mess with Nicki Minaj, right? You've got Nicki Minaj going after him. So, here's what happened. Governor Gavin Newsom is now defending trans kids in sports. Did an interview with Ezra Klein. Listen here.
But we didn't get into trans sports. That's an issue no one wants to hear about because 80% of the people listening disagree with my position on this. But it comes from my heart, not just my head. It wasn't a political evolution.
Your position being that
I don't think it's I want to see trans kids. I have a trans godson. There's no governor that's signed more pro-trans legislation than I have, and no one has been a stronger advocate for the LGBTQ community. But you have to accommodate the
Wow. Every niche and cranny of a vote count. I mean, right out here in LA. Right out here in LA, I guarantee you that, analysts and individuals took a poll and took a number. Where's the bulk of these votes at? Where's the bulk of an explosion could happen if you give sway? So it's had to be something like a default so he won't give sway. So, hey, let's listen to the rest of this, and then we're going to get with the Nicki factor.
Reality of those whose rights are being taken away as we advance the rights of the trans community in terms
of rights
the fairness of athletic competition.
See, where's the fairness? Have this been going on for multiple years and years and years? If it's fairness, it's like, don't even try, Americans, to use no common sense or knowledge. We're controlling this situation. Remind me of that show. We're controlling your stream, your feelings, and your situation. This is the Outer Olympics. Ain't that something? Dang, that came about in a weird way. The Outer Olympics. And this is what's going on.
But that didn't sit well with Nicki Minaj, the rap star, who has gained so much notoriety for first speaking out to defend Christians in Nigeria.
I'm going to speed it up.
president for standing up for that issue. Then the memes that she's been doing with Vice President J.D. Vance. And now she's going after Governor Gavin Newsom, posting this on X saying he, being Newsom, thinks he's Tom Cruise. Only difference is his next mission is impossible. He should get another leading role. Another one. Oh, Gabby Poo, it only gets worse for you, buddy. It's the end of the road for you, my love.
So what she said is that
Wow. Fair use. So let's go over there. Go over there and check out. Well, I know some of y'all already seen it, but let's check out this next one. Man, this next one. Man, I don't see nobody chiming in just yet, but here we go. All right. Let me see. Take this down. Stop sharing it. And fair use. That was a Fox News thing right there. And then we got to go right over here. And chill out screen. Let me do one Nicki, and then we're going to get to some surprise video. Oh, my God. I don't even know how I'm doing this. Because it's supposed to show the history of something. Feel like this. How did this happen? Oh, I know how it happened. Show less of that. That's how that happened. Now we're going to get over here. And this is going to be a trip. Fair use.
Makes you think Gavin Newsom is Gavin Newsom? Is it the mass amount of illegal immigration and tax Newsom is Gavin Newsom? Is it the mass amount of illegal immigration and tax dollars being spent for legal? What is some of the policies in California, given you've spent a lot of time there, that makes you think Gavin Newsom is Gavin Newsom? Is it the mass amount of illegal immigration and tax dollars being spent for legal and health care? Is it the failure to rebuild homes in the Palisades? Is it just pro-trans ideology and pushing that on kids in schools? What stands out the most to you?
And I'm glad you asked that, because I want to make it clear. I personally don't have an issue with the trans part of the LGBT at all. I am the biggest advocate for adults being able to do whatever the heck they want to do. They're adults. I don't care. I only mentioned something because when it comes to children, I wouldn't even allow my 17-year-old daughter to get breast implants. Neither, like, and most 99% of the parents would not let their 17-year-old child get breast implants. So if you wouldn't let a child get breast implants, you're not going to want them to have any kind of surgery, because we all know the brain is not developed. And we've heard about 19 times more likely to commit suicide. What more do you need to know? That a child is 19 times more likely to commit suicide if they have a surgery before they're an adult? So I just wanted to make that clear, because, of course, I don't judge, adults with, they can do whatever they want. With Newsom, it's the fact that with everything you said, but then having the audacity to be playing on Twitter, obsessed with Trump, trying to be Trump, trying to be funny when it's not, and then
you're so right,
wanting to roll around in the mud with female rappers or whomever, and completely missing the plot.
I never thought in 2026 I would be sitting here listening to Nicki Minaj articulately illustrate exactly what it is that the majority of people understand, but a lot of people don't have the platforms or the voice to be able to communicate. She is 100% right. The biggest problem with this whole situation is that you have politicians trying to take Trump's blueprint. You can't do what Trump do. Trump is uniquely him, and you need to lean into whatever it is that you do. And not only do we see a California that is completely destroyed and run amok, but they're advocating for people to be able to make changes to children. That is demonic in every way, shape, and form. And she's 100% right. Now, we may
And
have
it
different
has
political
been
beliefs
written.
and everything like that, but the fundamental thing is adults have the ability to make the decision for themselves once their brain is fully developed. Children don't have that privilege. And if you take that away from them, if you take away their ability to be able to make a decision for themselves, but you rob them of the ability to do that and you ruin them for the rest of their life, that is something that is unforgivable. And that's one of the reasons why we're such heavy advocates for children, because they can't do anything. They don't know any better. That's why they're supposed to be groomed to be the best Americans that they can be. And Nicki Minaj is 100% right, bro. She's 100% right about this whole thing. And anybody that says otherwise, whether you agree with her, don't agree with her, whether you like her music or don't like her music, she's right about that.
That's the thing. You are competing with President Trump, but President Trump is already the president.
Facts.
Get it? He's already done it twice. He's won. Good. Okay. Meanwhile, you are embarking on what a journey that will end up being a big, huge failure. But for him,
Something to give you a little insight of what they won't show you that's buried deep in the YouTube spectrum and on shorts and TikToks. And if you don't believe it, you may get a glimpse at what is not going to be shown on media networks and sites. So fair use on Anton Daniel. Go over there and check out his show. I had to take the gloves off for this. And let's get ready to look at the green gorilla. And I really miss him being in our YouTube streets, but you know, there was a lot of people offended with the deepness of what's going on. And here's the clip.
Prepubescent children have become ground zero in the progressives' war.
Now, I'm going to say, what I'm going to say is fair use. Get ready to look at the spectrum of some things that's not going to be shown. And if I can find this other report that I did on the video about the camps, and when they do the sports and the athleticism on the camps, that these camps that they take these kids to, because you know, like, you would think that these camps, it's age appropriate. And is it it's probably more rainbow appropriate than age appropriate. So, but now this video right here is going to explain why the standards of what we want, what a lot of people is really looking at is this.
It can't be said.
So let's back it up.
Basically talking about
this is the green
regressive.
This is the green gorilla show. He's the G with a PhD, Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, or someone else is in the
into adulthood. Okay. It can only be exacerbated by politically problematizing the very thing towards which biology has designated you to be in your development. I mean, think about it.
Think about
if you are born as a male, and in particular a black male, and you are repeatedly told that which you are developing into teleologically, naturally, is somehow fundamentally flawed, morally bankrupt, politically regressive. Now, this is sure to have an intense effect on the disposition of the person who is having difficulty in making a transition from childhood, prepubescence, into adulthood.
Now, what I'm going to do, I might speed it up a little.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm basically talking about is a natural transition from prepubescence to puberty, not a gender transition from male to female or female to male. But when children are vulnerable and they are going through this peculiarly awkward stage in their lives, the last thing they need is nudging and encouragement from ideologues and zealots urging them to alter their genders.
Do y'all hear that? That's the last thing they need.
Two, teleologically,
Listen, that's the last thing they need.
is somehow fundamentally flawed, morally bankrupt,
And our schools
politically regressive.
may be in on some of this.
This is sure to have an intense effect on the disposition of the person who is having difficulty in making a transition from childhood, prepubescence, into adulthood. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm basically talking about is a natural transition from prepubescence to puberty, not a gender transition from male to female or female to male. But when children are vulnerable and they are going through this peculiarly awkward stage in their lives, the last thing they need is nudging and encouragement from ideologues and zealots urging them to alter their genders. I mean, that to me goes without saying. Now, if a fully developed adult, a grown person, decides.
Now, what I'm talking about, and then we got to take a real lens view. Most of these people that's talking in this type of way, what is their house looking like? What is their house looking like? What is their family structures looking like? Their immediate family structures. So let's keep on with the show, and y'all finna see something that's gonna blow y'all away.
To change their sex or gender after reflection.
So I'm gonna speed it up.
Lupron Depot, Trail Star.
So the childhood. To make
in the progressives' war for transgender rights, and to me, it is fundamentally immoral. That's just my viewpoint, okay? Now, maybe you have a different viewpoint.
And this is Dr. T. Hassan now.
But that's my viewpoint. You can't take a prepubescent child
next
and give them the power to make autonomous choices about their gender. That's especially when it comes to surgery, such that it can't be reversed. You got any thoughts about that, Doc?
There are few issues, and truthfully, I say few to be generous. There are few issues that a child should be allowed to make lifelong decisions about. You don't even let children make decisions like that about tattoos, let alone anything else. So, and I'm saying this also as a father, because, you know, I might have been indifferent to this prior to having a child, but after having a child and witnessing just how much innocence, for lack of a better term, is part and parcel to childhood. To make a decision, or to allow that child to make a decision, especially without parental consent, involvement, because we're starting to see these cases happening where they're getting hold of, life-altering, biologically altering, means,
medication,
pharmaceuticals, so on and so forth, procedures. They're getting access to this without parental involvement. And these kind of decisions are bound to cause serious problems. And we still don't know the long-term implications of many of these treatments 20, 30, 40 years later. So one of the decisions at such a young age, it's setting up for a serious fall.
Yeah.
So the childhood. To make a decision, or to allow that child to make a decision, especially without parental consent, involvement, because we're starting to see these cases happening where they're getting hold of, life-altering, biologically altering, means, pharmaceuticals, so on and so forth, procedures. They're getting access to this without parental involvement. And these kind of decisions are bound
Yeah.
to cause serious problems.
Some
And we
cold.
still don't know the
It's
long-term
cold
implications of many of these treatments. 20,
because
30,
I
40
remember
years later.
going
So
So
to
one
making
of
these
the
a
decisions at
doctor
such a young
appointment,
age it's setting up for a
and
serious fall.
they
one of the things that they do
changed the law
is they give kids what are
to make
called
doctor.
puberty blockers.
Right.
Okay, you have names for these drugs, right? Zoladex, Supprelin, Lupron Depot,
Woo,
Trailstar. Okay, these are
Trails.
drugs that they have given to prisoners who've committed acts of rape in order to, they call it a medical castration, so that you don't get an erection. Okay, they're giving
Wow.
these same drugs to prepubescent teens in order to basically suppress testosterone and estrogen so that they can delay.
And that's why the left was talking about that they was going to be using the cutting tools for prisoners. So she was running on the campaign that, that this was going to be done that way. But America saw it was going to be done the way these doctors right here are speaking.
Puberty, so that if a kid has a question about what they want to grow into, if they want to be a woman or a man, they can delay the process.
Give it into them early.
Now we talking about like teenagers. How, like, in what world is this morally acceptable? I'm just saying. Like, to me, this is absolute nonsense. Now I can see an adult,
So
a grown person,
let's get up here to this
making this kind of decision about what they want to do with their bodies. But a 13, a 12-year-old, make it make sense, man. I'm just saying, make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. So let's watch a little bit of this video, man. Check it out.
Check out this video.
How do I love myself again? How do I feel connected to myself again? I took a mourning an entire life that should have been mine. That was my birthright. I don't know how this happened to me. And I'm just so angry. I'm so sad. Like, I just don't know how this happened. Like a virus or something, it just like infected me, and it happened so quickly. And it was like I was right there, like agreeing to every single thing. And then
that's why I say, Doc, this is painful to watch, man.
It is. It is. And we need to talk about that virus in a little bit, but go ahead.
I don't know how that happened. Then now I can sit here and like look back and be like, why did I do that? It doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. If I just would have waited. If I just would have waited. If I just would have waited and let myself heal. I can't have kids. I'll never lose my virginity. Like, I feel like I'm left to just like accept the scraps
Do
of the
y'all
life that I
see
could
that?
have had. I had this full life that I'm now having.
I mean, can't turn back, lost his virginity. He looks like he's about what, maybe 17 or 18 right there. Man.
To mourn while also living in the present moment with the life that like feels just like the scraps of what could have been.
Man, that's saying a lot.
Right.
That's saying a lot. Because think about it. If you cut and carve up a child's genitalia, a male anyway, I don't know what it's like for women, okay? I don't know what the process would be like for women transitioning into men and how reversible that surgery would be if it were performed. But as it pertains to a male, if you cut off his scrotum or his phallus, how do you reverse that?
Right.
You can't reverse it. So this person is lamenting. And this is a young individual, man. This person ain't even, I guarantee you they're not even 25 years old, man.
Right.
This is a person who is, for all intents and purposes, still a child.
Yeah.
And they will never be able to have children. Like the person said, because I don't know what to call them. They will never be able to lose their virginity according to their own, dictates about how that should be lost.
Yes.
Well, I think that was meant in the conventional sense. I really do.
Yeah.
But either way, whether it's conventional or non-conventional,
Then
it was said, I will not be able to lose my virginity. Can you fathom that in your early 20s? Can you fathom the reality of never being able to lose your virginity by your own definition in your early 20s? Never being able to have children because of a decision you made
with no parental,
probably before this person was 20.
With no parental consent,
Can you fathom that? What the implications of that on life?
That's crazy, man. This is crazy. Now, again, if you're grown, you can do what you want to with your body. I have no problem with you doing. I mean, it's your body, man. You can do whatever you want to with it. Okay. Now, I don't have to accept it. I don't have to like it. But I mean, it's your body, by the way. So I feel like, you can do what you want to with it. But creating a cultural climate in which 12 and 13, 14-year-olds are taking powerful drugs that block testosterone and estrogen, and then giving the green light for procedures that will create irreversible, life-altering circumstances.
People don't want to hear this.
For adolescents, it's crazy to me, man. And then if we say anything, then we become oppressive, hateful, and violent. What the fuck is that about?
Ooh, man.
What makes these cases that much more difficult is there have been a number of them that I've come across where one parent, and I have to say it's usually the mother, one parent who is deep off into this gender ideology, this gender fluidity ideology, is actively involved with the transformation of a child, most of the time against the father's will.
Wow.
And there have even been some cases where the mother has taken the child across state lines, outside of the country.
And did it.
And fathers have had to watch this. And it's a difficult dynamic
and
because
no one
this child has no idea what the lifetime implications of these discussions are, these decisions.
She didn't did it.
No sense whatsoever.
And looking at the father like, you crazy. And I showed you I got the power.
Crazy, bro. Like, you can't drink, you can't drive, you can't vote, can't get a tattoo, right. But you can cut your gonads off. You can reassign your sexual organs. Who benefits from this? Is the question I have to ask. Who's benefiting from this?
Well, we do know that the pharmaceutical industry is having a field day with a lot of this.
This is the dark side of gender politics. This is the ugliness that nobody wants to actually explore or have a discussion about, because what we want to do is recognize and affirm people who have actually made these kinds of decisions. But what about the casualties?
Yeah. And it's a lot of the casualties to transgender rearrangement or rearrangement surgery all throughout TikTok and some of these social spaces. Anytime you watch it, you wake up the next day, they bury it. It is buried deep in there most of the time. So this is Chill Out Screen. Let's get over here. And that how you can find him is on the Green Gorilla Show. Do y'all remember that Dr. Umar Johnson clip? This is the clip that is in. It's in this one. That one right there. See? When he was in there with Tammy Mack, and they had that invite right there, the dark side. So now we got to get over here to this other thing. Now we got to get that one right there, the dark side. Let's get over here to this next video. It's the Green Gorilla Show. Look for that picture with that brown trans individual right there. And then you can see the rest of that clip. That was fair use. Now, what should be the next thing we should be trying to look at? And hey, let's check out some more of Gavin Newsom and the tax situation. Well, like, here's this one. Check out this one.
2028, and that is something that I didn't think it was possible for any leftist to say anything as insane as what Gavin Newsom just said in this video that we're going to be checking out here today. Just keep in mind that this guy wants to be president in 2028, and that is something that we can absolutely not allow to happen at all costs, okay? But the most epic part about this entire thing is how Nicki Minaj came swooping in out of nowhere to absolutely destroy him in the most hilarious way possible, and in a way that left many people in Hollywood absolutely shocked. She did not hold back at all, and it is absolutely epic. So let's go ahead and check out what he says in this insane video, and then we'll get into her response after that.
Didn't get into sports. That's an issue no one wants to hear about because 80% of the people listening disagree with my position on this. But it comes from my heart, not just my head. It wasn't a political evolution. It was a position being that I don't think it's. I want to see kids. I would choose God's son. There's no governor that's signed more pro-trans legislation than I have, and no one's been a stronger advocate for the LGBT community.
Absolutely insane. Like, this is the type of crap that continues to put America in an absolutely worse and worse position when you are running on simply things like empathy and feelings and all this type of crap that Democrats love to do. It is absolutely devastating to the country. You are not a therapist. You are not a social worker. You are supposed to be the leader, and you should be looking out for what is best for the American people. But obviously, people like Gavin Newsom have no interest in that, and instead they continue to push things like degeneracy and insanity, and that is exactly what Nicki Minaj completely destroys him about in this absolutely hilarious barrage of tweets that she unleashed over on X, just completely shredding Gavin Newsom. So this, of course, sent many leftists out there into a complete and total meltdown in the most hilarious way possible over this entire thing. But this is the first tweet that she put out there where she says, imagine being the guy running on wanting to see Transformer kids. Not even a Transformer adult would run on that. Normal adults wake up and think they want to see healthy, safe, happy kids. Not Gav. The Gav nots. Gav out. Send in the next guy. I'm bored. And then the Nicki Minaj arc has been absolutely insane to watch over the past few months. She finally decided that she wasn't going to hide who she truly was anymore. She tore apart the veil to show that she is actually somebody that likes Trump, and she supports Trump in a lot of ways. She likes J.D. Vance as well. They've been like hanging out and saying good things about each other and all that type of stuff. It is absolutely insane to see, and this has completely exploded the brains of many leftists out there, and it is hilarious. But she didn't stop there. She also said this: "Oh, Gavi Poo, it only gets worse from here for you, buddy. It's the end of the road for you, my love. Get on the nearest jet ski and let that beautiful hair blow in the wind. It will make you happier than this race that you will not win. Enjoy."
So, so it's a lot of tweets. Go over there and check it out because a lot of people is coming for her. Media, some other religious leaders and stuff. They probably even talking to some of the other rap females just to make sure that, hey, can y'all check y'all girl? Check her. Make about, put her in a song, check her, get her upset, rile her up. But she made it up there to her prime days now, Nicki. So that's fair use with this video right here. So now we're going to get over here with our boy, because like I say, this is a chill out screen. Now we're finna see some of what's going on in our state. Hit that like button if you done came in on this show this far, and let's see what DeMarco has cooking. And man, he been all right. Now, somebody can put in the chat 3 weeks ago, 5 hours ago, 2 days ago, words of lies from Newsom's new book, Cost of Living Crisis. 5 hours ago. Yeah, let's look at that.
Is and how you can help us fight to enact it. Movement to take back our.
He always starts somewhere in the middle. Ready?
Issue. Why is it that the policies aren't being changed by the politicians? And I isolate the major issue. They're able to get away with lies. Instead of us focusing on the taxes, the mandates, the regulations, their policies, they are trying to convince you that it's price gouging by oil companies, or that the Wall Street executives are price gouging, or Trump did it. Yeah, that's right. Trump did it with his tariffs. It's always shifting the blame to other people. Therefore, the voters don't hold them accountable for changing their bad policies.
And we don't see
so we
real
have to
proof.
educate voters in each of these 26 target seats as to why there's a cost of living crisis, and then give them a solution that the politicians refuse to enact. More on Assembly Bill 23.
Businesses are leaving, folks.
Here's the Transparency Foundation, a study that they do every year called The Cost of California. And they basically take the average household budget and what you have to pay in California for the things like rent or a mortgage, food, gas, electricity, healthcare, all of the basic costs of your budget. What are the prices for those things in California for the typical family? And then compare it to the national average for those same items. So California pays more in every category of your household budget. No surprise. But it's really bad. For the issues of, by the way, the total cost of California penalty is $29,753.16. So we're talking about nearly $30,000. This is a middle-class family. This is not a rich family. This is a struggling family. They have to pay $29,000 more, nearly $30,000 more. Why? Housing costs are 124% higher for owning a home, 50% higher for rent. Gas is 50% higher than the national average. In a moment, I'll show you how it's 52% higher. Food costs are 27% higher. Water costs are 48% higher. Healthcare costs 5% higher. Taxes 45% higher. Childcare 51%. You see, you get the point. Electricity 101%. Car insurance 20% higher. So all these things are much higher, not just by like a little bit, but by a whole lot. So what causes these costs to be higher? First, taxes. Second, regulations and mandates. No, it's not price gouging, because to buy that crap, you would have to basically believe the notion that companies only price gouge in California. Oh no, they're angels everywhere else. Because
now let's look at this one. All right, let's look at this.
Three major elements to this bill. So I have something called the California Cost of Living Reduction Act, Assembly Bill 23. And there are three major elements to this bill. First, we establish a trigger for the bill. We require that every major household budget item be monitored by the state of California for what is the average cost for those items in the state versus the national average. And when an item in California costs 10% more than the national average, something will be triggered. For example, let's take gas. So the gas prices are super simple to track California versus nationally. And by the way, in each of these categories.
Do you know what? And then I noticed from the last 2 or 3 years of traveling to another state, when I saw gas in Houston, gas in St. Louis, compared to what we was paying, I was like, how in the hell is that gas station paying that much? And that gas station paying this much. And everybody's driving pretty much the same vehicles, the same distance, the same places. It just wasn't making sense. I'm trying, especially when I was buying the same food that I buy out here Los Angeles over there and still paying the same prices. Only with the exception of when it was gas. I don't know nothing about the utility tax and things of that nature, but that was like some way out. That was like, man, that felt embarrassing. Like, like, damn.
There are metrics that show line by line, what the cost of an item is. Even in healthcare costs, in a moment I'll show you how you can drill down to an emergency room visit or an ambulance ride. But here is gas prices. This is AAA. The national average is $2.88 a gallon today, but in California, $4.38. So in this case, the state under Assembly Bill 23, if we can pass this into law, the Democrats have killed the bill. But if we can pass this bill, the state would trigger the implementation of AB 23 for gas prices.
Let me show y'all that gas thing again. Wait until y'all see the whole
gallon
map,
of gas, which is 52.4% higher than the national average. So clearly, this would be.
Look, I didn't know AAA had something like this. Look.
This is AAA. The national average is $2.88 a gallon today, but in California, $4.38. So in this case, the state under Assembly Bill 23, if we can pass this into law, the Democrats have killed the bill. But if we can pass this bill, the state would trigger the implementation of AB 23 for gas prices, because we pay $1.51 more per gallon of gas, which is 52.4% higher than the national average. So clearly, this would be triggered. What would then happen? Step 2. My bill says that any time that Californians have to pay 10% more than the national average, politicians should be the first to forfeit their profit share, their piece of the pie. In other words, we should suspend any government tax or fee on that item. So, in the case of gas, if we triggered Assembly Bill 23, we would immediately suspend state excise taxes and the sales tax applied to every gallon of gas. That would immediately.
So, as y'all see, that's very interesting, huh? He shows the map. I didn't even know AAA had a map showing the average, showing some kind of grid of what each state in America on a cost average is paying for gas. Because, boy, when I saw that in Houston and saw how much gas costs in Atlantic, Georgia, I was like, damn. I was like, what the hell is going on? We all got the same money, same cash. And when you was buying food and stuff in those states, I was paying the same prices that I'm paying out here in LA. Wow. Was I paying the same taxes? I don't know, but wow. So, like I said, this is that chill out screen. Do I have any other things I wanted to show y'all? Let me see. But that Nicki Minaj thing was something else. So we're going to do this one. So let's look at what some of these protesters is. They out there live? Well, let's see what's going on in our streets tonight in Bakersfield. Let's see what's going on in Bakersfield for a second. I'm finding another pictures. This is live in Bakersfield.
4 cop cars.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
All right, now we're finna get to this one. Fair use. Now Dad goes wild. Now we're gonna get fair use from this one. More Nicki Minaj right here.
Carried. Now, whose marriages survived past the 2-year mark? Well, Sierra's still married, Beyonce's still married, Nicki Minaj is still married, and Cardi B is now currently divorced. Of course, Cardi B decided to marry a cheater, and you can only forgive someone so many times before you get tired of being publicly humiliated, whether you are a man or a woman. I can also understand that no one told you to marry a rapper along with everyone else here who decided to marry a shady character. I know that's a controversial topic there, but we're at where we're at now. If I would bet money on which marriage would last the longest out of all 4 of these women, comment down below what you think. I'm, of course, putting all my money on Sierra and Russell because, you know, she has somebody who I believe is a good father for that situation. He gets a lot of hate. I've hated on that situation too because people like to point that as the ideal marriage, which what I always say is no one wants to be a stepdad. You guys need to stop making that the ideal. Is what it is. Okay, what's my main point? My main point in this video is it was so funny to me how you have Beyonce with All My Single Ladies, you have Cardi B and the rest of these other women with songs where they're talking about how they're so much better than men, and they probably encouraged millions of women to not marry before they carry, to not prioritize relationships and marriages. And they did exactly what they don't encourage the women who listen to their music to do. And one of these women, Nicki Minaj, who we're about to focus in on here, is someone who, as time has gone by, people have found out that she's probably more conservative when it comes to social issues than most people realize. And in this video, I wanted to actually highlight on her saying something that I actually agree with, right? I disagree with a lot of things, but in this situation, her saying something I actually agree with, and this has to do with gender affirming care for children. Let's check it out.
I personally don't have an issue with the trans part of the LGBT at all. I am the biggest advocate for adults being able to do whatever the heck they want to do. They're adults. I don't care. I only mentioned something because when it comes to children, I wouldn't even allow my 17-year-old daughter to get breast implants. And most 99% of the parents would not let their 17-year-old child get breast implants. So if you wouldn't let a child get breast implants, you're not going to want them to have any kind of surgery because we all know the brain is not developed. And we've heard about 19 times more likely to commit. What more do you need to know?
And so she there is talking about self-deletion.
Child is 19 times more likely to commit if they have a surgery before they're an adult. So I just wanted to make that clear because, you know, of course, I don't judge, you know, adults with, you know, they can do whatever they want. With Newsom, it's the fact that with everything you said.
That's Newsom there, who she's talking about now. She said Newsom.
But then having the audacity,
governor of California,
to be playing on Twitter, obsessed with Trump, trying to be Trump, trying to be funny when it's not, and then wanting to roll around in the mud with female rappers or whomever and completely missing the plot. That's the thing. You are competing with President Trump, but President Trump is already the president. Get it? He's already done it twice. He's won. Good. Okay. Meanwhile, you are embarking on what a journey that will end up being a big, huge failure. But for him, but still don't seem to grasp the fact that these jokes that you're making are only funny to your assistant. You know, the weird.
Yo, I'll say this. I've been reading some of those tweets, and Nicki Minaj is actually pretty funny. She's been going off. Did you guys see what she said to Lizzo? This channel is sponsored by FathersHaveRights.com. What would you do if the mother of your children tried to accuse you of something horrible? Not because you actually did it, but because she wants to alienate you from your kids. The truth is, this happens more often than people would like to admit. An accusation, no evidence, no witnesses, and suddenly you're fighting to prove yourself innocent just to be a father again. CPS investigates, but the police find nothing. But the damage has already been done. That's what happened to Marcus Hill, a working father of two who spent months being accused, investigated, and humiliated, all for something that never happened. But instead of breaking down, Marcus stayed patient. He documented everything, followed every order, showed up to every hearing calm, collected, and prepared. And when the truth finally came out, it wasn't luck. It was strategy. The judge saw the evidence, saw the consistency, and saw right through the manipulation. You see, Marcus didn't just clear his name, he won back time with his kids. That's why FathersHaveRights.com is creating the custody prep guide for men, presented to you by expert attorneys to help fathers know what to do, what not to do, and how to protect themselves at every step of the
and
custody
I know
process.
someone that's
Click the
doing
link pinned to the top of
this
the comments to
same
join the
exact
waiting list
thing.
for the custody prep guide for men. Let me see here. Nicki Minaj, Lizzo, Twitter. Trying to bring it up here. Let me see. All right, I got it right here. She said, because I think, of course, you know, a lot of celebrities have come against Nicki Minaj for where she stands politically right now. I hope you guys are able to read this. But she said, Fat Lizzo lost 300 pounds just to sell 300 albums. So now she has loose skin and a floppy album and a weird charge. Sheesh. And that's her with the sheesh, right? That's not me. That was one of many of the tweets that I looked at and said, damn, Nicki's going off on Twitter.
Little guy that calls black women stupid and stuff, you see. But that's the whole thing. No one cares. And he's making a fool out of himself, like when he went all the way to another country to speak ill of the country and the president. We would never want someone like that to be our president. Americans are so big on loyalty. And that just showed us all, you do not have a loyal bone in your body.
Yep.
And no one is going to vote for you. But, so it was a little bit, you know, so it was that. But it was that I don't think people realize, and you guys, you know, but I publicly asked for his help a couple times on Twitter about swatting calls that were happening that were clearly a part of their extended smear campaign. And he completely ignored it.
Man. See, none of us didn't know about that. Swatting calls? Swatting calls is when you are owner of a property and you have squatters there. And then if she's calling, she might, man, the news didn't break out nothing on if this was her property being invaded upon. I say, damn.
Right? And next thing you know, he's on there flapping his gums about female rap stuff and trying to get in women's business.
So here's my thing, guys. I'm not very versed when it comes to what's going on in the female rap space. I see politics, and of course you can't ignore it. I follow it. Again, not the type of content I typically focus on unless if it ventures off into topics that we cover here on the Coffee Pod. Now, with that being said, I don't think that the fanatic liberals, and I do mean fanatic liberals, the people who have no boundaries, do not want to surrender, have no limits when it comes to these topics surrounding children, those people, I don't think they realize how much this particular topic swayed so many voters to say, hey, they're out of their minds. We're not going to give any attention to that. I'm talking about people who never maybe even voted before in their lives. People who don't even care about politics. When the issue of transitioning and child gender affirming care comes up, you get put into the box of crazy. And they don't realize this. And they'll continue to not realize this. If they don't draw back on that, then they can expect that a lot of people will go against them based solely on that. They don't care about anything else. They're looking at that going, you guys are messing with kids, children. You're experimenting on children. I just recently did a video on the topic of detransitioners. Very sad stuff.
Wow. Hey, so I wonder, should I look up that video or I'll bring it up tomorrow? I'm glad I heard it and made it back from the restroom real quick. But so far, go over here and check out my man's channel right here. He's out here in California somewhere. Well, you know, I'm not going to be surprised if I see him. But here's his channel. And he made a video on detransitioner. Let's see if,
to be a father again. CPS. And
so let's see if we can find it. Okay, let's see. Detransitioners. Okay. Maybe we can get a glimpse of it. Which one is it? She's regrets being transit. Oh, is this one? 13 days ago. Let's check it out.
They told you what was going to happen before you started testosterone. So really, it's your fault. You should have been paying more attention. See, but they didn't, though. They told me the outwardly observable effect that I would immediately notice. Like, that my voice was going to drop. Not that my vocal cords were going to dramatically thicken. And
but they did warn you. If the people who are in charge of your medical transition didn't warn you, you had people all around.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
I don't think the detransitioners, like the young, and it's unfortunate if you were a child, right? Because at that age, then the parents should be held responsible. But transitioning as an adult and being mad at the world and acting like there weren't plenty of people who are out here saying, hey, don't mess with what God put together. Don't mess with nature. And sitting here and acting like you didn't actually have a movement that would have deplatformed people like myself for even making a video like this. If I was on Twitter or some bullshit like that before, of course, Elon Musk owned it.
Wow. So like I say, if you want to see what they're not talking about, hey, Google, YouTube, detransitioner. And I'm going to end the show right here because we're coming up on the hour mark. So I'd like to thank all y'all for checking in, and that's about it. And we is about to be out. At least I know I can put that in the chamber and get back to it another day. So until then, hey, did I see anything in the chat? Let me see. There's my chat blowing up. I think it's some more. Somebody said something. Oh, well, that's about it. Until